Hi, this is Deb, and I want to walk you through a pretty big activity we're going to do that covers 3 modules. You're going to design and run a heart rate experiment. How are you going to do that? Well, you're going to hopefully have subjects, yourself, your friends, your family. You're going to design something that's going to change the heart rate. So you'll take a heart rate before, take their pulse, have them do your activity, which you describe very, very clearly so everyone does it the same, and then you take their heart rate again, see if it made it change. Pretty easy. Well, let's talk about how you're going to do it. All right, first, you can do this by yourself if you want, or you can do it in a group. I'm not sure what I would even suggest. If you've found people in this class that you kind of connect with, go for it, and go here and create a thread that you're looking for a partner. I just created this discussion board just for that, and so that might help you find each other. I have noticed with partners, either it's wonderful and makes it like the best experience ever because you're brainstorming together, you've got more data, or it can be pretty rough if your person that you're working with doesn't quite get the stuff done. So your call on it. So you decide if you're going to work alone or work by yourself, and then you're going to email me with that information. And when you do that, I will set up a wiki just for you. Here's the link to the wikis page, because what you're going to do is you're going to enter, so you'll find your name right here with your very own wiki in your group. This is how I can keep track of what you're doing, how things are going, and give you feedback. Because as you design your experiment, you really do need some feedback that'll help you clean up controls and make things very precise. You'll get lots of that from me. So I'm going to have you brain research, then you do your hypothesis and procedure. That takes a while. I'll get to that in a second. You're going to post it, and then I comment on it. So we go back and forth for a while until I give you the go-ahead. Yep, you got it all, and then you run the experiment, collect the data, and then the last module is when you write your conclusions. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to do this research and brainstorm page. This same information is in Module 4, one of the handouts in there. And so that I can tell who's doing what, if you have more than one person in a group, everybody uses their own color or font. How do I do that? Let's see. First, edit wiki content. You see it over here on the right. And let's say I'm brainstorming this, and I'm Deb. Why would it be useful for the heart to beat faster? All right. I have an idea. So first I'm going to go to my red font to provide more oxygen to the muscles when exercising. All right, so I've added that in my color. So let's say I submit it. Let's say Rob comes in, say I'm in a group, and he goes, oh, no, that's going to be to provide oxygen because you need oxygen to break down a food to release the ATP and to use the ATP. So he's going to add that part. He edits wiki content, and the part he adds, he changes to blue. All right? So you get that idea. So the two of you brainstorm all of these things. And so what you're doing is you're figuring out what your heart does, what it's providing, and what activities or stimuli may decrease or increase in your heart rate. You can design your experiment either way. I've had students in groups either design exercises very precisely or listening to relaxing music. Taking the pulse before and after, you're doing the job. So we got that done. Then, so also in this first module, you're going to design the hypothesis and then your whole experiment. Okay, I went back to Module 4 and lab activity to show you where this information was before I continue to the next part. So you found your partner, or if you want one, here's a link to the wikis page. You can also get to the wiki by clicking on apps and wikis. So here are the 2 handouts that are part of this stuff you do for Module 4. This is the research brainstorming that I just showed you, and this will be the second part. So you'll want to open both of those. And here are, those are different Word formats, I think. And here is the hypothesis and procedure design. So you've got some information here. But all of it will be already copied into your very own wiki. And I'll take us this way so you can kind of see how this works. All right, so you'll have your own name here. This is the example that I talk about a lot. If you're thinking, how do I write this? I'm not sure how to do this. Come and look at this example. I show you exactly what you're supposed to do. So use this. That's what it's for. So we just did this brainstorming and research. We got that going on. And now we're ready for hypothesis and procedure. Once again, if you're in a group, your name is one color, your partner's another color. All right, so your hypothesis is, let's say I decide I want to say subject performs 30 jumping jacks in 30 seconds, clapping the hands together over the head. And I think that does it. I'm okay with that. Well, Rob reads that and he thinks, you know what, a lot of people could do things differently. Do we put our legs apart? Do we jump? What do we do before and after? And he also puts it in an if-then statement. So he goes in by editing wiki content, changes the font color to his blue right here, and then he types. All right, so if you look at this, this hypothesis needs to be very precise. You got, if this happens, then that's going to happen. And so you're going to tell me if whatever you guys decide as a group or by yourself, then, a then should be right here. I'll be Deb and put that in. Then the heart rate will increase when measured by pulse rate taken in the wrist immediately after completing the activity. That's pretty clear. We got jumping and spreading the legs. I think we got that one. So the next part is trying to control our variables. This is going to be really hard. It would be perfect if we had everyone the same age, the same wellness, the same health, the same experiences, the same mindset, the same sex and gender, but we don't. You're going to use you, family members, friends. Very kind ones, I hope, who are willing to help you. And so to try to control all those variables as much as possible, often we suggest no caffeine 5 hours before activity. That would raise your heart rate. We want it to be on a normal day, not a stressful day. This is what good old Rob and Deb figured out. Not if ill or exhausted. Then Deb decided to conduct activity on a Saturday, no work at school at 9 a.m. A big one that all of you must have is pulse needs to be, you need to be sitting when pulse is taken. Turns out your pulse changes and goes up a bit just from standing. So sitting when you take it before you do your activity, and pulse taken again after when you're sitting. Another thing that's an important one I see to put in, cell phones, electronic equipment turned off to avoid distraction. Add any more that might make a difference. Ate a good breakfast, whatever fits. Then the next thing you're going to add here, you have to figure out who your subjects are. Deb had John and Joyce. Rob had Jeff, Bill, and Alex. It's important to know their age, their fitness level, how much they exercise, if they're a smoker, if someone has a disorder or a disease, if someone has a cold, all of those things would impact the heart rate. And that's what you want, because this is what you'll come back to when you write your conclusion and you see that John's heart rate barely went up and Joyce's went up a whole bunch. You're going to come back to this information in your conclusion and say Joyce is a 45-year-old woman who has a fitness level of 5, gives an example of how much she exercises, and she's smoked for 10 years. Those are some things you're going to talk about why her pulse rate was higher. So this is very important information to completely fill out. Okay, you're not done yet. We've talked about these controls, variables that we've tried to make everything as even as possible, even though your subjects might be all different genders, ages, and fitnesses. That's what you're going to end up referring to when you write your conclusion. So we've described our subjects. This is all happening in Module 4. All right, and then procedure. This is clear step-by-step instructions. That means, do you remember the whole thing about when somebody said, tell me how to make a peanut butter sandwich, and they did exactly what you told them? And it turns out you have to be a lot more precise. You need to say, you know, get the bread, pick up the knife, open the jar, all that kind of stuff. All right, so we have to write clear instructions that anyone could read and do exactly the same thing as a result. And this is what you'll hear me, I'll comment on all of this and give you feedback, and you keep changing it until it's approved by me, and that'll all be through the comment section. I'll show you that in a minute. So, beginning pulse rate is taken for each subject as they sit and relax. I might even, I'm Deb, and I've come in here and went, I think we want to do it, that didn't work. Well, let's pretend that goes like that. Let's say we're going to all subjects ate breakfast on Saturday morning at 8 and began the activity at 9 a.m. All right. I forgot to turn myself red. So highlight it, go up, and it's now red. Okay. So then beginning pulse rate is taken for each subject as they sit and relax. I'm going to add another one. It turns out we have a friend that's a nurse. Take all of the pulses and record them. That means suddenly we have really control of big time variable, and we only have one person taking the pulses, so that she'll do it the same. We're saying it's a woman, and that's a nice control. Then subject performs 30 jumping jacks in 30 seconds, clapping the hands together over the head, spreading legs, and jumping with each clap. All right, that makes pretty good sense. Then I come back here. Let's make myself red. Subject immediately sits after completing jumping jacks, and nurse takes pulse. And then if you want, that would be 6 here, pulse rates are recorded. If you don't have very many people doing your things, you might wait a recovery time and do it several times. I mean, that might be a way you make up for not having very many subjects, or do it 3 mornings in a row, whatever. So that sounds pretty good. I submit. Now, the teacher comes back, reads it. You email me first. You email me and tell me that you're ready for me to read it. So don't forget that part. Then, okay, email, I'll do that. Select users, Deborah Erickson. Please check our wiki. We're ready for your input. Don't forget to sign Deb and Rob, because I won't know. It'll come through here and it might not have your name on it very well. So please sign. And, let's say I'm in ZA section. I always put that in someplace. In ZA, if you see it right up here, you can always find it. All right, so submit. And then I'll get to it, usually within an hour or so. So you've just sent me an email telling me to come look, and you're ready for me to check it. So it's been a little bit of time. You can get to the wiki through the apps, like I said, and you want to check and see if I've responded. All right, you're going to have your own experiment wiki. And so you'll see down here in comments, as a teacher, I'll come in and say, looks like you have a bit left to finish here. Or I might say, I don't see much input from Rob. Oh, he just started out, but I'd like more. So when you come back, you'll see comments with a number next to it. And click on that. And it's not going to work right now. And you can visualize it. You can see it. Oh, it's underneath my little recording thing. Sorry. All right. So that's what you're going to be doing here as well. You've done your procedure. You're waiting for my comment. And I may come back here and say, like if you just listed John, 19 years old, Joyce, and you didn't put the rest of this on here, I won't let you go yet. I'll comment and say, you need more information on them. You need your fitness. You need anxiety level. If you're doing something about relaxation or even exercise, anxiety sure does add to it. So anything like this, I'll ask you to refine it. This will be the most frustrating part of what you do for this whole thing, because you'll think, okay, that looks good, because you assume everybody understands what you're going to do because you understand what you're going to do. Well, I'm here to read it and try to pretend I know nothing about nothing, and you're going to explain it all to me in your words here. So that goes on until I give you the go-ahead. So I might say, looking good, you just need to fix this, check that, add a little bit here, and then email when you get it done. So you'll email me again when you get it done, and let's say, hooray, it looks super, move ahead. You're ready to run your experiment, because you can't run your experiment until I give you the go-ahead, because you'll waste your time. You won't have this stuff set up correctly. All right, so let's say you get the go-ahead. This is where you're going to go next. I'm going to make a second video and post it in the next module, because that's when this part's due. All right, see you then.